All right, greetings, brothers and sisters. Tonight is February 21st, 2023. This will be session 22, the last session, official session for the class for this year, course of African philosophy. Tonight we'll be finishing up lesson 21, history of the UNIA, and we will most likely finish the 5-year plan as well, or we got to finish it all tonight. And with the time that we have remaining, I'll go over the questions, and next week I'll probably do a I'm trying to think. The last year we did the exam on the weekend. We'll probably end up doing the exam on look at my calendar. The week, not this weekend, but next weekend. March 4th will be the first exam, and if we have to have a follow-up one, we'll do something the following week. All right. Any questions or anything?
Yeah, I have a question. Why is the exam on the weekend instead of on Tuesday?
Would you rather have it on Tuesday?
I'm just asking.
Oh, I know why. Because the exam is supposed to be longer. It's supposed to be 4 hours.
Oh, so you start earlier?
I think we did 10 to 2 last year.
10 to 2.
Yes.
10 to 2. Okay, so you and I both have a meeting, and that conflicts.
All right. Well, we'll have to push it.
We have a meeting until what is it? 12 to 2. We have a meeting 12 to 2.
Well, it's gonna be it'll be a later exam. Maybe let me see, 4 to 8, 4 to 10, something like that.
Okay.
Good question. But yeah. Yeah. What else? What? Okay. All right. We need to get started though. If you would, everyone, please stand and repeat after me. Or no, don't repeat, but say it with me. Pledge to our red, black, and green flag. I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and security
of the red, black, and green. I dedicate my life
to the redemption of Mother Africa
and the
liberation of her scattered
black children. I accept
myself, my descendants,
teachings of
universal African
nationalism,
and I promise that our children will be filled
with the
purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people.
In
order
order
that the
that
cause of our struggle will be faltered nor failed until all
Black people are free,
united
through
one God,
one aim, one
destiny. Which first?
You got to put it up this time.
It didn't go up. Are you serious?
No,
Oh,
we missed it.
what is wrong with this thing? I guess I have to. Okay, I'll see why. I was doing it the safe way. I had this up. I'm sorry. Well, y'all did very well for not having being able to see it. Excellent. Okay, so tonight we got a lot of reading to do. I don't know if I'm be able to get through all of the questions, but this is what I'm showing now is the study guide that you all will get. I'll send it out this evening as we close out, but it's basically just every question that we've gone over in the PowerPoints and where you should be able to find an answer. But yeah, okay. So, I mean, this thing, like, I don't know. There ain't no shortcuts. This is the last one, 22. Why did that go? Okay, 21. I thought that said 12. All right, so we'll ask a couple questions from lesson 21. But what I was saying was there are no shortcuts. As we read this text, and the more we read this text, there should be questions, and as I've looked through it, almost every paragraph has a question, that is reasonable, so it'll be a comprehensive exam, but you'll have the foundation for what you need. So it's just a matter of time. And the thing is, the expectation is, with the study guide, it gives you everything that you need. But we have to put a time constraint because there should be a requirement or some understanding coming into the exam. So, you shouldn't have to be looking up every single answer is my point. And hopefully the exam doesn't give you enough time to do that. Okay. So just a couple questions. Let me see. I think we finished 20, living for something. Yeah, we talked about that. I'm only going to do like 10 of these questions and then we'll get to the reading. Number one, what is the purpose of the UNIA? What's the purpose of the UNIA?
To unite all Black people.
Unite all Black people. I'm thinking that's aim number one, universal confraternity. Unite all Black people. Purpose of the UNIA. I know I'm thinking charity as well. I don't know the answer off top, and I'm not looking, but somebody wants to help us out. Purpose of raising the status of the Negro to national expression and general freedom. Okay, in the year 1913. So the UN, the on the first page, well, not first page, 163. Lesson 21, History of the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League was conceived as an organization for the purpose of raising the status of the Negro to national expression and general freedom. So something we should take away. And I think that question comes up, throughout the text. He talks about the goal of the UNIA, the aim of the UNIA, the purpose. I feel like purpose may have come up more than once, but the questions will be, specific to the lesson in which they were taught. So, and if you do give a, it's not a strict thing, but if you give a, an answer that, that applies to a previous question, but it applies to this one as well, that'll be okay. Number two, where were the first meetings of the organization held? Where were the first meetings of the UNIA held?
Kingston, Jamaica?
Kingston, Jamaica. Ooh, Kingston, Jamaica. Yes, I was already in New York. Kingston, Jamaica. Was it school or church? See, the concept expressed itself. Practical England, July. Kingston Organized Association, meeting name association, held regularly later. Meetings of the organization held at Collegiate Hall. So that was later. And okay. So Kingston, Jamaica, Collegiate Hall. Wait, that's later. Yeah. So Kingston, Jamaica, initially were the first meetings, and then later on, Collegiate Hall in the central part of Kingston, Jamaica. Number 3, what is the name of the institution and the organization that Garvey visited for support when he came to America and he got little encouragement? There were 2 organizations or institutions. Where did Garvey go for help when he first got to the United States?
Well, NAACP was one of them.
NAACP.
Tuskegee was another one, right?
What was that?
Tuskegee Institute.
Tuskegee Institute. Yes. So, Garvey came, brought the message, brought the aims and objectives of the UNIA. We're not going to say that they necessarily turned their back on us, but they didn't. They didn't help us. Got little encouragement. Just something to remember. Why do I have 3 twice? That's interesting. Number 4, what was the name of the 3 facilities that Garvey used for mass meetings before finding a Liberty Hall? That's a tough question. Name of the 3 facilities that Garvey used for mass meetings before finding a Liberty Hall. So I guess Collegiate Hall was one of them. Wait, looks like this would be in America.
Yeah.
Lafayette Hall, is that one of them?
Say again, Brother Bruce.
Lafayette Hall, is that one of them?
I see that. Yeah.
Lafayette Hall.
Yep. It says he undertook.
Palace Casino.
Palace Casino.
Lafayette Hall grew rapidly in membership. Occasionally, overflow mass meetings held at the Palace Casino, 135th Street, 5th Avenue. After Lafayette Hall became too small to accommodate the growing membership, Palace Casino was secured for regular mass meetings, and offices were established on the premises above what was then known as Crescent Theater. So that was the third one that I had, Crescent Theater, 135th Street. Is that the same place though? Crescent Theater Building, Palace Casino. Oh no, it says from the Crescent Theater Building to the Palace Casino, the movement grew with such rapidity. So it implies 2 different places. Premises were secured at 138th Street between Lenox and 7th Avenue to be known as Liberty Hall. So that was the first Liberty Hall on 138th Street. Okay. Okay, and I was just about to answer the next question. After Garvey arrived in Harlem, how long did it take him to establish the first Liberty Hall?
18 months.
18 months, yes. All this progress took place within 18 months of founding the organization in Harlem, New York. That's 5. Number 6, when was the first International Convention of the Negro Peoples of the World?
1920.
1920, what month?
August.
August. What day in August?
I think they did it the whole month in 30 days. I haven't read.
Yes.
Down here yet.
To my understanding, yes, it was all 31 days in August, 1920. So very important time for us to remember. So that was number 6, written as 5. Number 7, written as 6. One of my favorite questions. To know what the UNIA is, what must we do? In order to know the UNIA, right in the beginning of how to teach the UNIA. What must we do?
Read the Constitution.
What else?
Probably learn the preamble.
That's in there. But it says, you're absolutely right. To know what the UNIA is, you must first read its Constitution and Book of Laws from cover to cover. And when you look at our Constitution, it says, and I've got one here, Constitution and Bylaws of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. So we should understand the document, understand the distinguishment between the Constitution and the general laws as it's written. But as Garvey says, if we claim to teach the UNIA, first we must, and we claim to know the UNIA, to know what the UNIA is, we must first read its Constitution and Book of Laws from cover to cover. Then he continues, he says, you must also read the literature written by the founder bearing on the activities of the organization. And then as Mukaraba said, Sister Mukaraba, the preamble of the Constitution is vitally important for those who are to interpret its supreme object. And that's the answer to the next question, which I just read. So let me just read these last two and we'll stop. Why was the preamble of the Constitution written?
The preamble tells you all about our organization.
Tells you all about our organization, yes. What was the purpose of the preamble being written?
Kind of goes over our objects and aims in an overview.
Objects, aims, and overview. You're right.
Winning sympathy and support of alien races.
Yes, at the bottom of page 165, Garvey writes, the preamble was written especially for the purpose of winning the sympathy and support of alien races where the objects of the association are being threatened by hostility. So we should understand that as to why Garvey says the preamble was written. Questions, comments on the preamble? And before we go to the reading, we actually go stop and read the preamble. I think that should be a normal part of a lot of our meetings is incorporating the preamble. Number 10, this is the last one we'll right now. What are the two separate functions of the UNIA and ACL, the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League? What are the two separate functions?
Hi.
Sister Marvia,
Yes,
do you have an answer?
I am sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Two separate functions of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Brother Macias, I know you know it.
Yes. The African Communities League is.
No.
Oh, okay, don't say it.
Yeah, hold on. Thank you, though. Does anybody know? Anybody want to take a shot? Brother,
say it again.
What are the two separate functions of the UNIA and the ACL?
To raise pride and unity, uniting all the world into our own like trade.
Well, what's the difference in function between the UNIA and the ACL? Maybe that's a better way.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it.
Read how
The ACL is more business-like, right?
Right.
Yes.
Oh, that's a gift. Thank you.
What about
Yeah, thank you for helping.
What about the UNIA, Brother Art? How would we describe the UNIA? If we say the ACL is more business, UNIA.
I was thinking social, more social, but I don't want to say that.
I mean, that's in our preamble.
Okay, all right.
But the word is fraternal.
Social, friendly, humanitarian society.
The word the comparison that Garvey uses, UNIA is fraternal, the ACL is business.
Okay, that's a better word.
166, first paragraph, or full paragraph. UNIA and ACL was intended as one organization to carry out the aims and objects of the Constitution, but the bylaws of the states in which the organization operates separate the functions of friendly and fraternal organizations from those of business organizations. Hence, in the incorporation of the name of the association in the state of New York in 1918, the two organizations were incorporated separately, but friendly and fraternal organization from business organization. So that was the original distinction, and we still function that way. But as Garvey says later on, the two were brought back together to make sure that we can't function independently. The UNIA or ACL cannot function without the other. Any questions, comments? Yeah, we don't have time. We don't have time to get into. I'm gonna have to skip these questions, the second half of questions. But as I said, everybody will get a copy of this very soon, so you'll be able to review it at your leisure. And this will be the only page pretty much that we haven't discussed as a group. But we do have a lot of reading, so let me stop sharing for a second. Oh, I don't know if this, Brother Art, do you remember? I believe I remember where we stopped, but I want to know if you remember where we stopped.
Man, I don't. I really don't.
Okay, I think it
I
was.
do. I remember.
What you got, Brother Bruce?
You were on, I don't know your pages, but it was to win over new prospects. Tell him that Mr. So and so, that particular point right there, it was after, it was a long ways in. I'm trying to.
No, you're absolutely right.
Is that paragraph?
Yes. So that's ending on
Thank you.
182.
yes, it's the bottom page 182, and we were at the top of page 183 for the white and the online version that I have, the free version, it doesn't have these pages, so we were reading from the books, and as I said last week, we should all have a copy of these books.
Well, that was all.
And as divisions, we should have several
But I
copies.
remember you Dolly saying not to copy.
I had to mute your lines. Okay. Brother Mason, did you have the book? Will you be able to help us this evening, or?
I do, but I have to run and get it real quick. So I was
Okay. Let me see. Okay, just hang tight and be ready for lesson 22. It's only like four or five pages for history.
Okay.
Brother Art, will you be reading, or did you want me to do it? Let me turn my camera off. Okay, Brother Art, all right. Well, I'm about to go ahead and start, and you on mute if you say anything.
My copy doesn't have page numbers, so I'm trying to find where we are. So go ahead. Right now I'm lost.
Okay, all right. On mine, we're about 4 or 5 pages from the end of the lesson. All right. Beginning or continuing page 183. Matter of fact, give me a second. We're supposed to be more media savvy. Did I make it back home? Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna go live. No description. All right. Continuing on page 183, message to the people, the course of African philosophy by the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. This must not be done for personal profit, because if you are found using this method for personal gain, you will be struck off the roll of students and be disqualified as a representative, because the moment the person finds out that you have used the approach for personal purposes, you have damaged the association and your own reputation. Hence, you are of no use, either to the association or to anybody else. The first international convention of the UNIA was held in New York from the 1st to 31st of August, 1920, formulated and adopted the Declaration of Rights of Negro Peoples of the World, to which the organization is committed until the objects of the said declaration are fully realized. The declaration must be studied by each leader of the race. It is to be found on page 135 of the second volume of the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. And seeking financial aid for the UNIA, always do so with confidence. The high and lofty aims of the association and the universal objects to be achieved can only be done through the support of each and every member of the race. This calls for the support of every man. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay, I thought I heard something.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Clear.
yes,
Thank you.
you're clear.
To gain such support, always impress upon the Negro that heretofore he has supported white organizations such as the churches, and he has contributed to their institutions without getting any direct benefit. He has even supported the Salvation Army. Therefore, there is no reason why he should not support a movement of his own that calculates to bestow upon him and his generations untold benefits. Contributions to the UNIA should be generally accepted from Negroes, but where other people of other races can be approached and are willing to give help, such help may be accepted, but without any strings attached or promises made that would in any way compromise the clear-cut intelligence of the policy of the UNIA. Such contributions do not entitle the donors to any privileges of membership or any right to attend the meetings of the UNIA, except public meetings as guests. Their contributions should never entitle them to attend or take part in any of the business meetings of the organization. Their donations may be accepted in the same way as Negroes give to white organizations, without having any claim on those organizations. Whenever donations are accepted from other races, the names of such persons, when registered on the same account of donations as that of Negroes, must be marked with a cross. And when such donations are being forwarded to the parent body, an explanation must be given stating that such a person is a member of the white race or whatever race that person may be, so that no communication of a private nature will be sent to that person, which reveals the business of the UNIA. This is very important because by not distinguishing between the donors, such persons may be written to as if they are members of the UNIA. They may be sent communication that they have no right to receive. In approaching people of other races for help, your argument must be different from that of an approach to members of your race. Your appeal must be based on humanity, good citizenship, or helping a worthy cause. Never explain the objects that are of uppermost importance to the UNIA. Never explain the objects, because they will naturally react with unfriendliness and suspicion. Because never believe that another race is so friendly as to know your objects and not try to hinder you in ultimately succeeding. Whenever you make an appeal to an individual or individuals for financial help for the organization, and you have failed in getting a response, the failure is not due to the person or persons you have addressed yourself to, but may be due to your inability to properly interpret to them the objects and aims of the UNIA and the reasons why they should support the association. Always be in a position to interpret those aims and objects to gain support, because people are always willing to respond to a thing that is to benefit them, even in a remote way. Never approach anyone for help for the association with doubt in your mind. It is better that you wait until you are in a frame of mind to talk conscientiously so as to carry conviction rather than to try to do so when your spirit is low. Let every day, every hour, and every minute count in your life for something done, something accomplished. Don't waste time. It is a sin. Time wasted can never be recalled or regained. Try to always be the best advocate of the cause of the UNIA. Try to let no one surpass you in doing that. There is something in you that is individual that nobody else has. Try to bring it out and let that be your individuality and personality for which people will remember you and talk about you. There is nothing that someone else has done in the triumph of a cause that you cannot do if you go about it in the right way. Always try to find the right way. Never hang around people who are always discouraged, despondent, poverty-stricken, poor, and never do well. You will ultimately become like them. Try to get around cheery people, happy people, prosperous people, and you will unconsciously take on their prosperity and their happiness. Never live in a house with or keep company with people who always have bad luck stories. Their sins will come upon you, for the same evil spirit that is following them may also be near you. Always appear bright when you are seeking help for the UNIA. Dealing with divisions. In dealing with a division of the UNIA, always recognize the division as a chartered body as the representative body. The units of a division, according to the Constitution, are all subordinate to the division. The divisional officers are the only responsible officers in the division. No auxiliary has the status of the division. In dealing with a division, first recognize the officers of the division. According to the Constitution, the legions, the Black Cross nurses, the motor corps, and all other auxiliaries must be obedient to the officers of the division. Great care must be taken in watching and controlling the activities of the legion, because in ignorance they are apt to get the division or organization in trouble by trying to exercise authority while they are only members of an organization registered by the state. The legion's function is more physical, cultural, and disciplinary than anything else. Any hostile demonstration by them that endangers the community or the peace thereof or creates trouble among the members must be quickly put down, and if necessary, their units suspended to prevent such trouble. The legions have no control over the Black Cross nurses. The Black Cross nurses are a separate unit. The only relationship may be that some from the legion with the ability to train may give them physical exercise and proper discipline. The Black Cross nurses fall entirely under the supervision of their own head nurse, who is to seek for them first aid training from some medical institution or individual through the officers of the division. The motor corps is an independent body of women who may be trained by a competent legion officer, but with no direct affiliation. See to it that the divisional officers do not allow members of the legions to appoint themselves to any office as lieutenants, captains, majors, colonels, or whatnot without the authority of the president, who is the ranking officer of the legions in his division as set down in the Constitution. See to it that the divisions do not allow Tom, Dick, and Harry to go into the division to speak to and lecture to them without the authority of the parent body. and that they do not allow anybody to use the meetings of the UNIA to put over their own propaganda, which tends to distract members from the UNIA. See to it that no fake lecturer or wildcat scheme representative gets into any meeting of the UNIA through any individual influence. Keep a close eye on African princes, chiefs, princesses, and all such fake personalities who come into the meetings of the UNIA. No prince, chief, or princess adopts such methods of going around begging and exploiting. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Princes and princesses are royal personalities who stay at home or only make state visits to other countries and are generally accommodated by the head of a nation. Anytime such fake princes or chiefs come among you, expose them and drive them out. Never entertain anyone who claims to be a Christ, God, John the Baptist, or such presumptive titles. Never allow divisions to take the word of persons claiming to represent Mr. Garvey or claiming to be sent by Mr. Garvey. Let them produce their letter. If they can't, drive them away. Whenever you find such fakers, hand them over to the police and make an example of them. Have it announced in the newspaper to scare others. Whenever anyone is called upon to sit in a UNIA meeting and speak in your presence and say things, Whenever anyone is called upon to sit in a UNIA meeting and speak in your presence and say things not in keeping with the policy of the membership training of the association, after they have finished, you should rise immediately and correct them for the good of the membership. Instruct all presidents and presiding officers to do the same. Whenever you think something is detrimental to the organization and its policies, never fail to correct it immediately so that the people may not get the wrong impression. Always defend the organization and protect its name in the public press or otherwise. If you find an opportunity to debate with other people to maintain the principles of the organization, do so by challenging them. Before you debate, always read up on the point of view or subject so as to be able to handle the same in keeping with the principles and objects of the UNIA. Whenever you are in doubt about anything in the UNIA, write to headquarters. Never take it upon yourself to settle the question decisively if you are in doubt. Always say, pending the ruling of my superior officers, this is my opinion, and leave it at that. Do this only when you are in doubt. Encourage the divisions to use only programs at regular and public meetings that express the sentiments of Negroes. For instance, all recitations should be by Negro poets and authors. Songs, hymns, and choruses should be by Negro composers also. Encourage the juveniles to study Negro poems and songs. Encourage local divisions to have a reader who is educated to read striking articles from the Black man each week. Encourage some bright juvenile in each division to study and recite the tragedy of white injustice. Never have them recite this poem when white people are present. Encourage some bright boy or girl to study and recite African fundamentalism. Always keep these two major bits of literature before the people until they come to know them almost by heart. And that completes lesson 21, titled The History of the UNIA. Very critical, important lesson. I open the floor at this time. Any questions or comments on lesson 21 before we go to lesson 22? But as I said, somebody gonna say something.
I was glad to read that it reiterated some of the feelings that I had while I was dealing with situations in my division.
Yes, when we look at Garvey's life and his teachings, from my understanding, there's only two compilations of work that he wrote with his own hands. One is a collection of poems, and the second is this course. And this course, as we read, has been described as the last political will and testament of Garvey, and designed, for the leaders of the UNIA after his death. So, until we come together and design something and develop something for our time, or whatever you want to call it, we consider this fundamental. As I said when we first started, we put this book right up there with the Constitution. That these are side by side as far as the two most important texts that someone that considers themselves an officer or a leader should have a level of understanding. So any other questions, comments? One thing I was going to say was, I love this, I love that chapter. I love this whole course, but in regards to, as I tried to explain, the phases of the lessons, and now that's the second to last lesson, which is, just full of information, but it's almost like missionary work. We are being commanded to go out, organize our people, do the best for our people, and make sure that when we do it in the right way, in the right, personality, as Garvey says, and individuality. But we should begin at this point. Yeah, well, not begin, but at this point, you should definitely have a sense of responsibility going through this course. This is not just a novel for us to read and discuss and, think about possibilities. This is a course of action and directives, so once we study it and master it, or feel like we master, because I don't think you ever really do master it. Garvey talks about, the way you can tell the ones that know this information the best are the ones that can use it to grow their divisions. So the highest score is great. Being able to memorize it and recite it is great. But as the lesson on economy said, it comes down to our records, and our financial records. So how many members can we recruit, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis? Which division is going to be the first to have 500 active members, as Garvey did many times over in his time. So any other questions, comments on lesson 21 before we read the last lesson of the Course of African Philosophy?
So would that be called the Book of Law? This philosophy? I mean the course on African philosophy.
The Book of Law? No.
What's the Book of Law?
The Book of Laws is in your Constitution.
It's part of the Constitution, yes.
Oh, okay.
General laws for the large Constitution, general laws starts on page 35. Small Constitution, it's a different page, but the Constitution and general laws are in one text.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
reading the big one now.
Yes, ma'am. And as that text says, it has a section in there. I've studied it, but it's in the section called Education, and it says that I don't know how often it is, either monthly or bi-monthly, we should be studying the Constitution, as a division amongst our division. So we should be promoting that. We should be willing to chair that as well for our divisions, or like we're doing here, if someone wants to take the responsibility to have a national Constitution study group, that would be excellent as well. But we should take on those responsibilities. That's what this course is about, in my opinion. Part of what it's about, in my opinion. Brother Macias, were you going to read the last lesson for us?
Before we start the last lesson, that is such a great idea. And I see Attorney Imhotep on here.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Is that our attorney? I'm asking.
Motep's phone, is that you, Attorney Motep? I sent out a couple extra invites today, so.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll reach out to him.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we should, you know, at the end of the day, we should really, really, really be taking this stuff very seriously, you know, and not only studying for our own benefit, but the class setting and getting a group discussion. I don't think you can beat that, especially amongst our people that are genuine about the benefit of our people. Like, you don't get a better group. All right, that's all I got. Anybody else have anything before we finished out the last lesson? Very straightforward.
Excellent lesson.
Yes.
I'm not sure if 20 or 21 is my favorite lesson, but they're both to me very, very good and substantial for how we should proceed as officers in the organization. So, but the 5-year plan, that's very important also.
Yep. Yeah. I want to say we haven't officially, you know, said, hey, this is the 5-year plan, but we have implemented, you know, strategies from the 5-year plan specifically for our international headquarters fundraising. But we'll talk about this more, and you know, we should have some ideas as to you know, big vision. Garvey throws out a lot of big numbers here, and this was back in the late 30s, so we should be thinking big and collectively. Brother Macias, I can read again. Will you be able to read for us? Close
Yes,
us.
I have it up here.
Did you got it on your, well, you don't want to share, do you? Brother Mace, you didn't want to share your screen, did you?
No, I didn't. That was a mistake.
Oh, you fine? Yeah, we don't.
Yep, I have it.
Yeah, you have the floor, my brother. I'm on mute.
All right. I lost my page. Sorry. There we go. Lesson 22, the 5-year plan of the UNIA. 1934, at the International Convention of the UNIA, held at Edwards Park, Crossroads Street, Andrew, Jamaica, BWI, the President General of the Association presented to the convention in session the 5-year plan scheme as the most possible and practical scheme through which the association could rehabilitate itself and carry out the major objects of the organization. The scheme was thoroughly discussed and adopted by resolutions, properly moved and seconded and carried unanimously, as set out in the reprint circular from the Black Man magazine, August through September 1935, herewith incorporated. Secure a copy of this circular. Explanation of the 5-year plan. The 5-year plan is a scheme of colossal magnitude. Should the amount budgeted for be fully subscribed, it would enable the organization to, in the most practical and efficient manner, carry out not only the industrial, commercial, and other phases of the convention program, but to a great extent encourage and carry out many of the major objects for racial development. The idea is to get every Negro in the world to pledge to contribute voluntarily a sum of money for 5 years and pay the same within 5 years to the plan. The amount to be contributed is to be left entirely to the financial ability of the individual person. It was suggested that no person could be so poor as not to be able to contribute at least $5 within 5 years to such a fund to assist in the general development of the race. Hence, nobody should be left out. The majority of people would be in a better position to contribute larger sums within the 5 years. For instance, some may be able to contribute $10, $20, $100, $500, or $1,000 within 5 years. There is every reason why every Negro should contribute to this fund voluntarily, for it would supply the organization with the financial resources to work without prejudice in the complete interest of the race. It would help the organization realize all of its objects from which each and every Negro would benefit. The method of contributing to the fund is as follows. A person desirous of contributing makes a voluntary pledge for the amount to be contributed within 5 years, to be paid in installments, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually until paid. If possible, one could pay his pledge in one payment. The pledge must be sent to the headquarters of the organization, the parent body, 2200 East 40th Street, Cleveland, Ohio. The person pledging must give his or her full name, correct address, and profession. The person may send the first installment with the pledge. On receipt of this first payment, a pledge card will be issued from headquarters to the subscriber or donor with the amount pledged written on the card and the amount of the installment paid also entered. The card is returned to the donor with the request that whenever other installments are to be paid, that the card be forwarded with the installment for the amount to be entered on the card and in the ledger at headquarters and returned to the donor. After the pledge is fully paid, a certificate is issued by the parent body to show that the particular person paid the pledge in contributing to the 5-year plan of the organization. At the close of the 5-year period, a record will be published in which each donor who has paid up the pledge will have his or her name recorded for the information of all concerned. The amount of money collected in the plan will be appropriated for carrying out the many schemes authorized by the Convention of 1934, as set out in the circular referred to above. In explaining the 5-year plan, great stress must be laid on the fact that for the Negro to realize the objective of a nation and government of his own, he must first have financial security. While no individual person can create a nation or a government for the race, because each individual is looking after his own personal and private business, there must be an organized cooperative effort towards this end. Hence, the effort is represented by the UNIA, to which all Negroes must contribute and with which they must cooperate. Established nations and governments get their revenue from taxes levied on the citizens. The Negro, having no government, cannot raise revenue for such a purpose in that way. Hence, those who desire such a thing must be voluntary contributors. The establishment of the different enterprises which will help to find employment for Negroes, and the profit of which will go to help the organization to carry out its nationalistic program, is in keeping with the principle of the organization to hold all its properties and wealth in hereditary trust for the Negro race. A contribution to the fund simply means that one is helping to place the race through organization in a position of financial security, through which it can march on to the realization of nationhood and government. If everybody contributed just the amount of money that is thrown away on non-essentials in 5 years, it will turn out that the very amount that would have been lost in waste becomes the actual resource to establish that which is most needy by every Negro in the world. Therefore, it is a patriotic duty of every Negro to contribute to the fund to make the plan a success. The many enterprises we undertake in America, Canada, the West Indies, South and Central America, and Africa will be instrumental in finding employment for countless thousands of Negroes who never would have been employed otherwise. The plan is supported to compel respect for the aims of the organization by all races. The 5-year plan has been seen as the most to the economic, political, left, and interview on the subject.
Macy's breaking up.
Without fully convincing him that he should contribute. Okay, we're gonna go back. The 5-year plan. Can y'all hear me okay? Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. Therefore, it is a patriotic duty of every Negro to contribute to the fund to make the plan a success. But many enterprises we undertake in America, Canada, the world will be instrumental in finding employment for countless thousands of Negroes who never would have been employed otherwise. If the plan is fully supported, the very magnitude of the plan would give it status that will compel respect for the aims of the organization by all races. The 5-year plan has been seen as the most thoughtful economic scheme that will be undertaken as a solution to the economic, industrial, political, and other problems of the Negro race. No Negro should be left out of an interview on the subject without fully convincing him that he should contribute and to have him contribute to such a plan. Then, how to get results. There is no use trying to represent the UNIA before making up your mind to get good results. The most important results are financial, active, and moral support. Financial support means to get as much money as possible to help finance the program. In getting such money, you must do so at the least cost, so that the amount received will produce a net that can be used for the purpose for which it was obtained. Active results mean enrolling persons as active members of the association, people who will always work as members to help put the program over. Moral support means secure sympathy and cooperation from individuals so that the organization can always count on such persons to do their best for the movement. The way to get money. There are many ways to get money for the UNIA. Approach and interview the most substantial members of the race in your community or your jurisdiction, such as the ministers of the gospel, doctors, lawyers, businessmen, and substantial tradesmen, and persons of important occupations. Meet them at their homes or at their office or places of business and seriously talk to them about the program of the organization. Explain to them all of its details, aims, and objects, and after doing so, ask them to contribute to the assistance of the association. Whatever they contribute must always be recorded with their names, occupations, and addresses. The names of such persons must always be transmitted to the parent body for record, and always remarks that may be necessary to explain the character and disposition of the person must be added to the report on each person, so the parent body can be advised as to the nature of the person to help the cause. This is important also because communications with the people must be couched in language consistent with the person's disposition and intentions. It must be taken for granted that people of this class will be skeptical at first and have to be convinced by proper arguments. If you can win over the support of such people who are the natural representative class of the race in the community, you have achieved a great deal in winning the kind of support that will enable the organization to speak with authority because it has the best class of people supporting it. In approaching ministers of the gospel, always be diplomatic enough to convince them of the Christian policy of the organization and the willingness of the organization to support the cause of the Christian religion. If the preacher is won over and he contributes, you may get further assistance from him by seeking permission to speak to his congregation to raise funds for the organization. In doing so, always arrange with him that a percentage of what is raised is given to the church so that he may feel interested and satisfied to assist that way. No preacher should be left until he has consented to help in some way, because there is no greater way of the church showing its willingness to expand the functions of the church than by helping a cause like that of the UNIA. If a preacher refuses, it is evident that he has not been in touch with the proper argument or that he is positively selfish. One of the arguments to be used with the preacher is that by preaching unity, the association is assisting the church by getting Negroes to support their own religion, just as they are encouraged to support everything else that is theirs. In approaching a doctor, you should point out that by the association preaching unity, self-support, and self-reliance, you're helping to increase his practice in the community. The same argument should be used for Negro lawyers and Negro businessmen. The argument for those who are in good position, employed as they may be by white people, is that the white people will not always employ Negroes. They will only do so until they have been approached or forced to substitute the white employees for Negroes. You must convince these Negroes that the association is seeking to establish such economic and industrial independence for the race as to be able to find substantial employment for its own men and women of quality and ability, as evidenced by the program of the 5-year plan. Tell them that with the success, their support will help bring about this can be achieved. A general approach should also be made to all other Negroes in their homes or at any place that you may conveniently meet them. Get them to contribute individually by using good, sound arguments for their support. And number 6, the argument for the common people is that there is no economic security for the race when it has to always depend on the white man's employment. Therefore, by supporting the UNIA to the point of success, opportunities for employment will be created by the establishment of factories, mills, commercial, farming, and shipping enterprises, et cetera, which may offer them employment according to their training. You can explain to all of them, professional and common people alike, that contributing to the funds of the UNIA is no different to contributing to the funds of white organizations, which so many of them have done for so many centuries. But the point is that by contributing to white organizations, they are supplying the club to break their own heads, economically and politically. In contributing to the UNIA, they will be supplying the ammunition that will be used to fight their enemies and to establish their own security. Explain to them that there is as much need for self-denial, even to the poorest person of the race, to help the UNIA, as the self-denial to help other causes with which they are not directly identified. There should be a proper method of approach in acquiring funds for the organization. If you are a representative of the organization, you will be supplied with the necessary credentials and the necessary account forms to submit for the gathering of such support. No one is supposed to make an appeal for the UNIA who is not authorized to do so, because it would mean trouble and fraud and would be unworthy of anyone who has secured these lessons. This method of approach must not be used for personal purposes, but only for the purposes of the UNIA. One of the major ways of raising funds for the UNIA is by public meetings advertised for the UNIA to explain its objects and to speak on its general program. Such meetings may be arranged through the agency of divisions of the association or an affiliated one, or through agents in a community. Where there is no branch of the association, these meetings can be arranged through friendly churches. In organizing such meetings, an agent should be appointed first, a place secured, and a proper advertisement prepared and distributed in the community before the date of the meeting. In a community of 2,000 people, at least 1,000 handbills should be printed. In a community of 10,000 or more people, 2,000 or 3,000 handbills should be printed and widely distributed among the Negro population. All agents should be written to and asked to see that this is carried out, so that upon going to the place to address the meeting, you will not go where no one knows about it. Always word your handbills in the most attractive manner so as to create general interest among Negroes. You should mention that you are a graduate of the School of African Philosophy to suggest to the public that you have rare, uncommon knowledge of great importance. This will attract their curiosity. When speaking at such a meeting, you should be at your best on the subject that you are going to discuss. After you have made your speech, sit down for a couple of minutes, then rise again and make your financial appeal. Unless you are addressing a division, don't make an appeal for money in the speech that you make, because people will think that you are only speaking for money. Immediately after the speech, you have to make another short speech for funds to support the organization. Always have your meetings well organized inside by arranging for ushers to take up the collection after you have asked for special contributions, which should be brought up to the table immediately in front of the platform. After you have made the appeal for special contributions of large amounts, then get the ushers to take up the small contributions. Never ask for extraordinary amounts in special contributions. Consider the pockets of the people. You may ask for $5, $3, $2, or $1 from those who can give that much for such a cause. Then after you have exhausted that, you may even ask for special contributions of 50 cents, and then take up a collection from those who may not be able to give more than 25 cents or 10 cents. When you go into a strange community where the people are not members of the UNIA, make your first public meeting a meeting for obtaining members. All members who are to join must pay $1, 35 cents of which is the dues for the first month. 25 cents is the joining fee. 25 cents is for the Constitution, and 15 cents is for the button and certificate. Each person must be given a receipt for the $1. Then the person's name, occupation, address, and age is registered in the book. If you have secured 7 or more people as members, you have enough to start a division. After the meeting, call upon those who have joined to appoint a president, and then have them elect a vice president, a treasurer, and a secretary. Leave a constitution and tell them that they must control the organization in keeping with the Constitution. Tell them that they will be privileged to hold regular meetings, suggest twice a week, but particularly on Sunday at 3 p.m. or at 8 p.m. Instruct them to work to secure more members, and then they can apply to the parent body for a charter, the cost of which is $25. Also tell them that they are privileged to collect money in their community from others who are sympathetic to the association to secure money for the charter. You should keep in constant touch with the secretary you have elected and find out when they are ready to apply for their charter. Then recommend that they contact the parent body for the charter. When they receive their charter, they should be advised to have a special meeting for the dedication of the charter. Then invite all the Negroes of the community to attend, at which time they should try to get more members for the association. If you remain in town the second night, call for members also and make an appeal for funds for the association. Always see that you secure your expenses and have money as a net to forward to the parent body whom you represent. If you remain in town for 1, 2, or 3 days to work up a division or to visit a division, you should take the time to interview all the potential members in the community to get financial support for the organization, so that the expenses of the trip will not only be on the meeting, but on the community from whom you may get financial support. In getting people to join a division and elect officers, you should leave with them that portion of the first month's dues that is the divisions, according to the constitutional law. Also leave them a portion of the proceeds to enable them to start out with something in their treasury. When setting up a new division, you should always advise them to rent a hall of their own where they will be able to hold their meetings without being disturbed. Suggest to them that they should not only depend on the regular monthly dues and collections to support the division, but they should organize entertainment of an innocent nature, such as dances, concerts, beauty contests, popularity contests, or any kind of social event on a regular basis to help bear the cost of the rental of the place. You should explain to them that from the very beginning, the division must make a regular monthly report to the parent body. This is in accordance with the Constitution. You should point out to them and then mark those important sections of the Constitution that deal with the relationship between a division and the parent body. If you are a representative of the UNIA with credentials such as a commissioner of a state, you should raise funds in the following ways for the parent body which you represent. Hold bazaars within the state, picnics, garden parties, concerts, or any general amusement that the public is accustomed to and will likely patronize for a cause. Flower days, rose days, tag days, or self-denial days. If these functions are to take in the entire state, then ask all friends or divisions within the state to cooperate. When these events are held within a special community, then ask all friends or divisions in that particular community to cooperate. This must only be done with previous arrangements with the parent body. A report to the parent body must accompany every such function. All these functions must be held in the name of the organization. You may also have groups of people in your jurisdiction organize house parties and give public entertainment for the benefit of the organization. The way to do this is to approach some responsible person on the street or in a neighborhood and ask him to invite his friends to his house for the party. If possible, you should always be present unless the person you have asked to have the party is a responsible and honest person who is in sympathy with the organization. If you arrange a tag day or a flower day, this should be of a private organizational nature because if made public, it will be in conflict with certain municipal or state laws governing charities. These things are to be organized within the organization and among its friends. You can appoint members of the organization, such as the Black Cross nurses, to go into people's homes and offices and ask them to buy a tag or a flower to help the cause. Do not have them do it publicly on the street, except in communities where you are privileged to do so. In organizing these things, always try to get interesting people to help who will take part in these activities for the love of the cause and not for payment. You can arrange with churches in your jurisdiction to stage plays at their church hall or in the church on a percentage basis, and then get local talent in your jurisdiction to contribute to the program free of cost. In this way, you will find yourself continuously active. After you have done this thoroughly for a year, you will become acquainted with all the parties, and it will then be very easy for you to do the same thing annually. In such work, let every minute count, because if you appreciate all this, you will have no time for idleness. As far as white people are concerned, we do not specialize in seeking contributions for them. But what you think it is wise to arrange lectures among them, revealing only the humanitarian part of the work, you may conduct such lectures and raise a collection or ask for help only on those humanitarian grounds. Do not commit yourself in any statement that would lead them to think that they could become members of your association or be affiliated with it or have any part in it. To do so would be a direct violation of the Constitution and against the association. This applies to individuals of the other races that you may ask to contribute to any special fund. But wherever such contributions have been made, a record should be kept of the person's name and address, and a report should be given to the headquarters with remarks made to show the contributor's race for the purpose of guiding the parent body in communication with such persons then and in the future. School of African Philosophy, College, Yale. We must win. We shall win. We will win. Win, yes, win, and win to win. You and I shall win to win for Africa. For Africa, we win. We must win. We shall win. We will win. Win, yes, win, and win to win. For Africa, for Africa. Well, win to win. The creed of goodness. To pass the time in doing good, to count the evils we put down, to have our deeds so understood is nobler than to wear a crown. To bless the people as we go, to scatter seeds that grow to life, to strike all sins a deadly blow is better than to stir up strife. For this of all is greater fame that none on earth can e'er destroy, by Marcus Garvey. The Creed of Goodness. And that's it.
Thank you.
Lesson 22 to 5.
You went up, well, you muted at the end. Thank you, Brother Macy's. That completes, as he was saying, lesson 22, 5-year plan of the UNIA, and it completes the reading for this course this year, Message of the People, course of African philosophy. Two things, well, a couple things. One, you should feel a sense of accomplishment, pat yourself on the back for making it to the end. It's a long course, as I think it should be When Garvey first did this course, he did it in 30 days or less. The second time he did it was an extended period. Going through it in modern time, I feel like the longer approach makes more sense. Doing it one piece at a time over a long period of time. So first thing, you should feel a level of accomplishment. We have completed the reading, nothing added, nothing taken out, but read as Marcus Garvey himself wrote it. Having gone through that, we should feel good. But then there's another level that I think about when we talk about Garveyism. That term is used more loosely than I like personally when it comes to people saying, they are Garveyites, they are followers of Marcus Garvey. I'm not, personally impressed. I feel like they could be doing more. So for us, one of the big things that I want everyone to understand and take away is that level of responsibility. There are not many that have gone through this course, not many that have successfully gone through it or made it through it. And there's still some work to be done. And I encourage everyone to go through their texts religiously, almost. But, this is not, it's not a newspaper. This is not a sports magazine or anything like that. It's not a cookbook. This is, as the first lessons taught us, and as I said earlier, the last political will and testament. So if we consider ourselves Garveyites, followers of Garvey, I think understanding that political will and testament, being able to articulate it, being able to defend it, is very important. And as we just finished reading, in addition to our directives to make sure the organization is financially stable, you still saw a lot of the word Constitution and making sure we do things within the Constitution and abiding by the Constitution. So one, that level of responsibility should be important for us to represent Garveyism and the UNIA and Red, Black, and Green. And two, this is just the beginning. That Constitution is a whole nother beast that we should be studying and reading on a regular basis. But the way I feel, this should be a part of our foundation, a big part of our foundation. So congratulations to those that got all the way through. We started sometime in September, and now we're, at the end of February, just finishing out. So, thank God we made it. We survived, and, hopefully we learned something in the process. So I don't have anything else right now.
Question. So on the 28th, will there be like a review, or will we have a chance to go over these last questions?
Yeah, last questions and a review. So let me see. Yeah, last questions and a review. Any, questions that people may have, anything I can answer, any way I can try to, just make you feel more confident going in. But at this point, I feel like it's do or die. Either you have it and you can articulate it to an extent, or we need to do more studying. But
Okay, so we will meet on that Tuesday or no?
yes, we will meet next Tuesday. It may not take the whole hour and a half. I'm hoping it's probably just an hour, but
All right,
we
sounds
will
good.
meet next week just to finish it out. and, you know, give everybody an opportunity to dwell on the questions, think about it. If there's any discrepancies or anything, any questions that can be cleared up next week. Any other questions, comments? Great question, Sister Brenda.
Okay, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so how soon will you send out these questions that we didn't receive?
Planning to do it right after this call. So
Oh.
tonight.
Tonight, okay.
I'm
And
hoping
I'll-
everybody has Word and can open a Word document. But if you've been getting the PowerPoints and that's been okay, I'm hoping the Word is okay. I'd rather not convert it to a text and have to do that. So I'm gonna start with a Word. If that's an issue, I may just do a text.
Yeah.
But it'll be harder to. It's gonna be harder for me to. I don't know. I feel like it'll be harder for y'all to try to read it as a text than a document.
I guess we could do a show of hands if we can read a Word document. But if you
Does
send
anybody
it-
have an issue with Word, receiving a Word document?
Yeah, if you send it as Word, even if they're using Google Docs, they can open a Word document.
Okay.
It'll convert over.
Mama Earth says no. You said no issues or no, it won't work. Because I can forward this right now, actually. No issues. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's a few pages, but the intent, as I said, when I go through this book, it's almost as if Garvey has something important to say with every paragraph. So, you know, be prepared. Definitely the things that repeat, you know, if he says it more than once, it's going to be up there. But, you know, just try to be conscientious as to what he's trying to communicate and what's important in what he's trying to communicate. Some of these questions are fluff, but when it comes to the exam, it'll be the most critical questions. The most important. How many members does it take to start a division? I feel like that's an important question, you know.
Brother John,
Yes, sir, Brother Bruce.
I appreciate the course, bro. I was not aware until I took your course, man. I was not aware of all of the things that were involved and the way of thinkings and all of that stuff. And now I'm a little bit more, a little bit more knowledgeable now that I done, gone through this book and had some explanation and everything. Because it probably would have just been a bunch of words on pages and I would have got some of the meaning, but being able to go through this course really helped out a lot. It really did.
Thank you, Brother Bruce. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. But yeah, that's what this is about. You know, Garvey created this course in 37 officially. As far as what happened between that time and now, I don't know. I'm not trying to look back. But, you know, we just have to do our part to preserve this legacy, this information, and make sure, you know, if we see value in it, that we incorporate it as part of our fundamental training. So, you know, we've got a lot going on nowadays, and it's a lot of new information, new techniques, strategies, so quote unquote new. But the scripture also says there's nothing new under the sun. So, you know, I just as I said, and as I will repeat, this is going to be a fundamental part of our training as well as the Constitution. And until we come up with a better plan or better course, the 5-year plan, is one of our top strategies as well. Until we can develop something better or more modern, I recommend we go to what Garvey left for us. And even if we do develop something new, I would still want to understand the origin. Any other questions? 9:35 is officially closing time. Our last official reading. So next meeting should be pretty light. Bring your books, bring your questions, and we'll get ready for the exam and try to knock that out. It's not meant to be difficult, but we do need to have, as I've talked to brothers and sisters, what does they call it? Rites of passage. So when it comes to people claiming to be a Garveyite, what have you gone through to call yourself a Garveyite? What positions have you held? How long have you held those positions? How many members have you recruited? How much have you raised for the organization? Those are the type of things that should set Garveyites apart, from those that say it and those that are really doing it.
You have a question in the chat?
Oh, I see a 1. Please repeat date and length of exam. Let me see if I can get a calendar up.
Now, the date you said was March 4th.
I think, is that the Saturday?
Mm-hmm. And it was 4 to 10. Oh, maybe she didn't mean the time length. Maybe she meant the number of questions.
Are you are you talking about time length or questions? Because in order to get the questions, it's gonna take me a sec. Not too bad. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Where's that at? That's Google Docs. Google Drive. Well, last year. There we go. This is it. Sneak peek. How long is the exam and how many questions? It's it was 4 hours. I'm gonna give y'all grace period of like 2 hours. Tentative, depending on how things go. But definitely 4 to 8, maybe 4 to 10 on Saturday.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I work on Saturday. I'll be able to start about maybe 5:15 on the test.
Okay. Well, to see things like that, that's when we got the extra hour, extra
Okay.
time for things like that. So no problem. That is March 4th will be the first exam day, and possibly the 11th for makeup day. We'll be back next week for a study session. Raise hand. Mama Earth, I think.
Yes. Raise first, everyone. On March 1st, a meeting with the farmer in PA, and I live in Maryland. The meeting is from 1 to 3. So I'll probably be able to meet on, or I would like to make it the makeup day,
11th.
the 11th. I can make it the 11th.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, same time on the 11th. As far as how many questions, file unavailable. No, don't do that. I think it was. This is misleading. I want to say it was like 300 and some change. This don't. Hold on. Because there's you
If
have
it's 1 point per question, it said 260.
260. Okay. But no, I think it's multiple. I don't think that is accurate because there's some questions that have multiple answers.
Okay,
So yeah, I think it's listed.
300.
Okay, I see it. Yeah, total points. Trying to find. I was trying to open up some of them from last year, but I don't want to show too much.
We see people's emails.
Yeah, y'all don't know who they are. Scores. Yeah, so it's saying 260 individual questions, but some of the questions have multiple answers.
Okay.
Do they have multiple? Yeah, so like this one, finish the quote. What blank rules the world, blank carries the burden. Is that one answer or two?
Looks like it's one answer. You got a short answer text. That'll be one answer.
But it technically you got to know two things. So it's one question, but it's got, you know.
You got 2 points for it, huh?
Yeah. I gotta adjust the point system. Last time I just did it manually. Just added up each individual question and divide it by, you know, the total possible. It gave an average or percentage. So, yeah. As you see, you know, the questions should be very, very, very familiar. I'm not wasting my time trying to reinvent the wheel. And you know, I'm not trying to stumble anybody or anything. This is just, you know, it should be straightforward. You know, what does Garvey say here in regards to this? You know, but no fluff, just straightforward. You know, course of African philosophy. 9:43. Any closing comments, questions?
Great class.
Thank you, Sister Brenda. We do have a big group today. Where's my PowerPoint? This may be well. Thank you, everyone. And for those, thank you, everyone that has contributed. It's been very, very helpful. You know, something I didn't expect coming in and doing this. But for those that would like to contribute, for maybe one of our last times to ask, Cashapp is the best way. Cashapp $ UNIA-421 fund. And we also have PayPal, paypal.me/UNIA-421. But yeah, shameless request for funds. And that's all I've got. Baba James, are you there? Would you like to close us out?
Good evening, family. Race first.
Race first.
Put your right hand in the air. And repeat after me. One God,
One God,
one aim,
one aim,
one destiny.
one destiny.
Africa
Africa
for the Africans.
for
For
the
the Africans,
Those at home
those that
home,
and those abroad.
and those abroad.
Race first.
Race first.
Race first.
shutting it down. See y'all next week for recap, and then exam
Greet-
March 4th.
Greetings, Brother John. This is Brother Andrew here. Very good meeting. Listen, I was wondering, did you take the roll? Did you
I
take
did.
the attendance?
I did, Brother Andrew. I got you.
You got me in? Oh,
Yes, sir.
all right, then I appreciate it.
Am I sharing?
I'll be here next week.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Andrew.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Shutting it down. Thank you, brothers and sisters. We'll be here next week. W candidate to help start division in Etowah, Alabama. Oh well. Okay.
We'll talk.
Where's that? Where she got off already? Etow.
Don't ask me where it's at.
Brother
I don't know.
Brother Nkosi, you there? Brother Nkosi. He's in Birmingham. But yeah, definitely. I don't know how far that is from Birmingham. Brother Nkosi, you
It's about
there?
an hour right here.
I see him I see his face.
Yes, sir.
You know how far Utah, Alabama is from Birmingham?
No, sir. I can search it. I don't.
Okay. All right. Check it out. Check it out. But yeah, we need to do some things in Alabama. So I'm gonna need your help.
It's an hour away. It's an hour drive away.
That ain't bad. All right. Yeah, keep me posted, brother Macius. I'm gonna jump off. We gotta, get finished planning for HEC and get ready for this exam. So y'all get some rest, and we'll see each other next week, God willing.
All right.
Race first.